Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the weekend edition of the show. Glad to have you here with me. Looking forward to getting into our community's questions, just like we do each and every Saturday and Sunday each week. We answer about a dozen questions per week, always in the order they've come in. These questions are coming in from April 14th to, it looks like, April 17th. I'm just opening the document now. Again, I don't do any prep work for the questions. I just share with you my experience, my opinion, after about 20 plus years in this amazing industry. So I know we are now about 8 weeks behind. That seems to be about the case, right? Oh no, we're 12 weeks now behind. All right, so we are now 12 weeks behind. And again, as I always say, if you're looking to get your question though answered, basically same day, I would ask it right at cabralsupportgroup.com. I certainly don't want you to have to wait 12 weeks to get your answer. But as always, just remember, I am here to answer your questions and I will always continue to answer them. So I'm going to keep doing my job. I'm going to keep answering a dozen questions per week. And again, we'd love to help you any way that we can. Let's dive into the show. So first question today looks like it's coming in from Sierra. Sierra says, "Hi, Dr. Brawl. For a while now, I've been experiencing dizziness and lightheadedness when walking around in certain stores. However, once I leave the store, I feel better. I've read about it being a vestibular disorder and this condition being recognized as supermarket disorder or visual vestibular mismatch. Although it affects me the most when I'm inside the stores, it also affects me when I play certain video games as well or when I'm around a lot of people. This affects me 50% or more of the time. My question is, do you have any recommendations that may be able to help to subdue the effects of this condition? Thank you." Yes, Sierra, I'm happy to help you with this. It's funny, supermarket disorder, that's an interesting name to give it. I know exactly what you're talking about. And visual vestibular mismatch or visual vestibular disorder, if you want to call it that, it basically means that there's a mismatch between what your eyes are seeing and vestibular, which means kind of what's going on in that inner ear, which helps us keep our balance. Believe it or not, our ears and the sounds and what we're taking in through this sense actually plays a lot in our balance. I shared with you, this is going back about 2 years now, about 2 years ago. I can remember it because I believe it was during the fall. So I guess it was a little early, or not quite 2 years ago. And I had just dizziness. I had really bad vertigo and I couldn't figure out what it was. But as I always tell people, I always use variables. I ask myself, what variable didn't just change over the last week? What variable changed over the past month or 6 weeks? Because sometimes it takes a little while to overflow that rain barrel. And for me, believe it or not, I was using a certain type of nut milk, which will remain nameless. It was a coconut nut milk. And it wasn't the usual none that I use. It had to have contained some preservative in there that wasn't labeled on the label. I don't know. It's not supposed to happen, but I guess it could. And when I was using this particular one, this is what I figured it out to be, it happened. And so I went through so many different things. I went through certain exercises to help this, all this. And what ended up happening is that I took it out of my diet. Then I was like, oh, I feel better. Took a few days. And then, because that's why I always do it for at least a week. You don't know just right away in a day. Then I added it back in. I said, well, let's see if it happens again. If this was the cause, well, I certainly know the fix. And it happened again after about 3 or 4 days of use. So that is just one example of this, okay? So we don't always know the thing that's causing your visual vestibular mismatch. However, for you, certainly, stimulus is affecting you. So video games and then all the lights in a grocery food store, all the visual, like you've got what? 10,000 products in a big grocery food store, people moving around, the fluorescent lights, all that certainly seems to be affecting you, and your autonomic nervous system may be a little bit imbalanced. So the minimum I would do is run the starter kit. That's at stevencabral.com/labs to look at the electrolytes, which help make up the autonomic nervous system, look at heavy metals that can play an issue, and then the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, which is part of that starter kit, would actually look at gut health, certain vitamins like B vitamins for stress, etc. If you didn't want to run any labs, again, I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis. You may want to use something like full spectrum magnesium, or ideally what I would do is the entire sleep help protocol, the comprehensive sleep help protocol that you can find at stevencabral.com/shop. And then that would help with magnesium, with things for the adrenals to kind of calm that nervous system down. So lots of different ways to approach this. For me, it was a food sensitivity. For others, it's more autonomic nervous system based. All right. And then definitely check out dizziness or vertigo at stevencabral.com/podcast because I have lots more information on it as well. All right. Kelsey's up next. Hello. She says, I was wondering if you can clarify the difference between a reacted supplement versus an elemental. I work at a place that sells practitioner-grade supplements, and my boss asked me if I knew the answer to that. I did not, but I thought of someone who would be better able to clarify. You, of course. Thank you for all your help. Thanks, Kelsey. I appreciate that. Appreciate you reaching out. Yes, I have the answer to that for you. Happy to help. So reacted is simply, I know the company you're talking about. I won't talk about it here, but it's just the name of a product. So reacted is what they call their different mineral-based products. So they have a reacted zinc. They have a reacted magnesium, I believe. They have a different reacted products. So that's more of a labeling. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, all right? There's no, this is not a reacted, there's nothing reactive. If you look at, I'm not going to name the company, but I do want to, I want to reiterate basically, so I'm going to look one up right now for you. I don't want to, again, I never disparage other companies because the company that we're talking about is actually a really good company. So they create good quality products. But of course I click on it right now and so that's one of my pet peeves is that when a company, when you land on their website, they should just give you the supplement facts panel. Don't make it difficult for people. Literally, just show them what's in the product, right? You can talk about all the great other things, just allow people to see what's actually in it. All right, so this one works. So I'm looking at it right now. And yeah, you can see that it's a magnesium product and it's just bound to citrate, So again, reacted is more of a marketing term that they're naming the product because they're kind of making it theirs by calling it this one thing, which is nothing wrong with that. They're totally fine with that. And the elemental actually does mean something. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have 200 milligrams of zinc citrate, let's just say. Okay. So out of the 200 milligrams of zinc citrate, it might be 25 milligrams, about 12% or so, elemental zinc. That means how much zinc you're actually getting. All the rest of it is what the elemental zinc is bound to. Let me give you a different example. Let's use calcium. Let's say that you have 400 milligrams of calcium citrate again. Okay, citrate is just what the calcium is bound to. Let's just say it's that. All right, so out of 400 milligrams of calcium citrate, you might have 125 milligrams of elemental calcium. That means you are only taking in 125 milligrams of that mineral, not 400. Okay, because the other 275 would be the citrate part of it or other, right? So hopefully that's helpful. The elemental is what you're actually getting. That's what it means of that product. So if you're trying to get 400 milligrams per day of magnesium, well, you want to get 400 elemental milligrams per day. Our full spectrum magnesium is about 110 milligrams per capsule. So of course you'd have to use 3 to 4 capsules of that if you were looking for that. All right. So hopefully that helpful. Anonymous is up next. Anonymous says, is it possible for an overload of histamine to affect female hormones and cause estrogen dominance as a secondary effect? I'm asking because we recently had an oak apocalypse here in Houston. Tree pollen was above 12,000, which was double the previous all-time high record. And I was having symptoms of high histamine, but I also started having some symptoms symptoms of estrogen dominance. No other life or dietary changes in that period of time other than extreme allergen exposure. When I Googled this quickly, I found some articles off the bat that suggested histamine could increase estrogen. So I wanted to hear your expertise and any recommendations for what someone should do if this happens other than the standard allergy advice of alkalizing vitamin C, quercetin and bromelain, preventing allergens from entering the home, neti pot, etc. Well, you gave away my whole answer. Just kidding, anonymous. So no, I know what you're saying. And so the first answer is yes, it can absolutely affect the hormones because it's a stressor on the body. So think about it. A stressor on the body, so it could be work, relationship, emotional based, it could be gut based, it could be injury or pain based, it could be allergen based, it could be heavy metal based, it could be autoimmune based, right? So that's a stress in the body. If we're increasing stress in the body, what happens is we typically increase what's called sympathetic nervous system tone or fight or flight. If we increase fight or flight, oftentimes, at least in the beginning, cortisol levels go up, norepinephrine goes up. So stress hormones begin to go up, stress neurotransmitters go up. And then what can often happen is then progesterone levels start to decline, at least in the short term, and then chronically in the long term. And then what happens is we look like we have higher levels of estrogen, or we may actually have higher levels of estrogen because higher levels of cortisol can lead to higher levels of estrogen, as I've spoken about on previous shows. Higher levels of cortisol can actually add more body fat. More body fat can actually increase endogenous estrogen as well. So all of that is absolutely possible. So what do? Well, you can certainly use something called estrogen balance while that's going on. You can use adrenal soothe while it's going on. And I recommend our allergy protocol, which is the Hist Pro. And I do that at 3 capsules 3 times a day when it's really bad. And alkalizing vitamin C, you can do a half a scoop to 1 scoop 3 times a day. So when it's bad. And so that's that. And you're right about everything else. Keep the windows closed, use your air filters in your home, use the neti pot, wash your pillowcases, take a shower before bed to get all the pollen out of your hair, take your clothes, throw them right away in the wash. All of those things are what matter during an oakpocalypse, which, by the way, I've never heard of before. That's a very interesting term. So thanks for writing in. Karim is up next, or Karim or Kareem. What would you say is worse, Coke Zero or a glass of wine? Haha, sorry if it sounds silly, but I'm just interested in your point of view. Wow, I've never been asked this question, but I love these types of out of control, funny questions. So that's really what it is. So I don't even know what's in a Coke Zero. I know that makes me like, I don't know. I don't know what it makes me, but what's in Coke Zero? So we need to first figure that out. And usually I never look things up, but I want to be able to give you an answer. So how do we find out what's in Coke Zero? So let's just type in what's in Coke Zero. What is in Coke Zero? Okay, well, that's not good. It uses common artificial sweeteners, including aspartame and ACE K. Oh, that's a form of potassium, so that's going to be also can act as a preservative, but it's sweetener. And then caramel color, so basically fake coloring, food additives, and flavors. Okay, well, I mean, this is a tough one. All right, so let me give you a couple of answers. So one, if it was a regular sugary soda made with like regular sugar, let's just call it, I don't even know if cane sugar or whatever you want it to be, and it was a regular can of soda, and no artificial colors, no artificial flavors. Like, let's say it was like in Maine, they have like this Maine like root beer, which is just made from little like herbs and all of these different types of things. And of course there's sugar, and of course there's some syrup. So the difference that is with that, okay, that's an assault on your pancreas, your insulin, no doubt about it. It's for a finite period of time. That may throw you off for like 3 hours to 4 hours, for some people, maybe longer. For wine, well, it's going to give you the same essentially glucose spike. It very well could. It's still going to be per glass of wine like 30 grams of sugar or so. I know we could like debate it depending on the type of wine that you have. But the problem with wine is that it's actually going to affect your detox systems to a greater degree than like a regular Coke, right? So what I would say is, well, you're getting sugar from both, but what you're happening is you might get antioxidants, yes, from the wine, okay, maybe, but you're still getting the assault on your immune system and your liver from the alcohol, okay? Now, Coke Zero, I would actually say is worse. So I never recommend putting artificial flavors, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners in your body, like Absolutely not. It affects your liver. It affects your nervous system. It affects your brain. So what I say is, would I have a glass of wine instead? Yes, I would. I would have an organic, a biodynamic, some type of cleaner glass of wine. I would use that selective sulfate filter that I talked about on a few Friday reviews to remove the preservatives from it. And I would do the glass of wine instead if I had to choose. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. Marnie's up next. By the way, I'm not recommending, this is not medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, especially when answering questions like that, right? I'm not telling people to drink alcohol. All right, Marnie's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I will be having an Inspire implant placed for sleep apnea. I will be having antibiotics perioperatively and post-operative. What must I do to protect my microbiome? Thanks for sharing your wealth of knowledge. You are a godsend. Thank you, Marnie. Appreciate that. And I appreciate you writing in. So I've answered this question many, many times. So I want people to always use stephencabral.com/podcast. Use the search box. Type in surgery, type in antibiotics and surgery, type in anything like that, and you'll find the answer to this. And Marnie, I don't mind answering for you. I'm going to answer for you right now. The problem is I don't want you to wait 12 weeks to get your answer. That's what I don't want. So you can even ask that at cabralsupportgroup.com, and the amazing Michelle or Daniel will be able to link up the answer there as well. So here's the thing. I would use the Healthy Gut Support and the Clean Gut Probiotic for at least 30 days. That's what I would do. And you can use them any time of the day, 6 hours away from your antibiotics. And that's it. So that's what I would do. So that's going to help your gut to the greatest degree. Healthy Gut Support will help with the gut lining, and the Clean Gut Probiotic will hopefully help from bacterial overgrowing or yeast overgrowing as well. So 30 days to 90 days, 30 days minimum. It's a bottle of each, and then 90 days if you want to do the full 12 weeks. All right, Jordan's up next. Hey, Dr. Cabral, this is kind of an odd question. I've been having extremely frequent sleep paralysis and muscle numbness ever since I got COVID. I am not alone in this, as I know someone else that's been going through this as well. I've seen that there is new research seeing a correlation between the two. I'm just wondering if you have any suggestions regarding sleep paralysis. Thank you. All right, so I haven't actually read any of the research on sleep paralysis and COVID, but I've studied COVID like inside and out. I mean, as in depth as you can, because I don't want to say that I have any secrets. I don't. Like, I listen to everyone. I really do. Like the experts, I listen to everyone on both sides because again, you know my mission. My mission is just to share the truth, right? To share the truth, unbiased truth. Some people get offended by it because honestly, they've already chosen a side, and that's the way that it is. I think that's too bad because it could hold you or your family back from getting the results that you need from any part of medicine, all right? So here's the thing though. I know that COVID, long COVID, I've studied that in depth, does create inflammation and mitochondrial-based issues. This could certainly be a part of that. I actually recommend for someone like yourself, even if you don't do it forever, using a device like an Oura Ring that's going to track your deep sleep and your REM sleep. And if you find your deep sleep is like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, it's probably a sign that your body is in a deeper state of recovery. If you see that, because that's what causes also the sleep paralysis and that deeper sleep. So you just want to make sure, like really important, that you get to bed early, like really early, because you're going to get the deep sleep you need. And you don't overexert yourself with exercise. You don't overexert yourself with stress. Your body is still in a state of healing. It's still inflamed. Personally, I recommend running the Big Five. I would figure out what else, is acting like a hole in the bucket or that's filling up your rain barrel. That's not allowing you to recover as quickly because typically there's an underlying issue. So I'd run the starter kit or I'd run the Big Five. The Big Five is the most comprehensive. You can find that at stephencabral.com/labs. You can do these right at home. If not, again, dive into the daily foundational protocol level 2 or level 3. Get all the nutrients your body needs. I actually recommend level 2 or 3 plus the immunity protocol. If that's too expensive, if you can't do that, I totally understand. Use at least the daily nutritional support, the daily omega-3 support, and the immunity protocol. All right. So that's what I would do. Again, I'm not providing any medical advice for COVID. I'm not providing any medical treatment plans for COVID. I'm not providing any medical cures for COVID. That is just me giving my opinion on underlying root causes and what I would personally do myself. So hopefully this was helpful. Thank you everyone for tuning in. You are all amazing. And I will be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.